The market's in the midst of a rally. The Dow is up about 150 points. This is despite U.S. airstrikes in Iraq and continuing bloodshed in the Gaza Strip. 2 U.S. fighter jets dropped 500-pound bombs on ISIS strongholds just outside the Kurdish capital of Erbil. President Obama reversing policy, authorizing the military action last night, saying, quote, "America is coming to help." With me now, Liz McDonald, NewOak President James Frischling, and Barron Senior Editor Jack Howe. Jack, how do you explain the market's reaction to all this?
You know, if the markets were tanking right now, we would blame it on the bombing.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any connection. In other words, I think what people are looking at with stocks right now is they're saying, look, you know, there's a possibility of the Fed unwinding its stimulus on the market, and that could hurt. But then you think about why the Fed is doing that. It's because the economic news is pretty good. I think in the long run, this pause that we've had in stock returns here is good news for stock investors. I think there are some buying opportunities.
James, the world is falling apart, though. Why doesn't the market seem worried about it?
Again, I think we're becoming somewhat numb to the geopolitical risks, whether it be Russia and Ukraine, the Middle East, and now going back to Iraq. But I agree with Jack's point. I think people are looking at the Fed very carefully. There has been some good data. The Chinese trade data blew away expectations. So the fact is they're shunning the geopolitical risks and actually embracing some of the good things going on in the market.
I don't think the markets have cared about Iraq since 2001, 2003. You know, we've had all sorts of supposed black swan events, the Arab Spring, Libya, and it didn't really affect. I think the issue is an aging bull. It doesn't just, you know, go out to pasture. It crashes into a wall.
I guess, but if you look at all the blogs and everything else this morning, I mean, they're saying that the rally here is about the fact that it looks like things are settling down in Ukraine, maybe that there's a pullback there. I mean, so they're saying that it is geopolitical, the reason why it's up. Do you buy that? Either of you guys?
I really think it's some economic improvement. And I think investors might be going about it the wrong way. They're buying utilities and consumer staples and safe havens. They should be buying some of these late cycle industrial companies.
But we are going to have a more gut clenching ride of it when the Fed starts pulling out. Then volatility, natural market forces start coming back in.
Check out shares of Tekmira Pharmaceuticals. It's up almost 40% following the FDA's decision to lift a hold on the company's Ebola drug, potentially making it available to infected patients. The news comes as CDC chief Dr. Tom Frieden calls the virus spreading to the U.S., quote, inevitable. Inevitable. That's scary.
Yeah, it's very scary that he put that out there, because you've been talking to so many experts saying it's not inevitable in the United States. You know, what's really interesting, though, about this serum, and by the way, we continue to talk to experts. Nobody really knows, right, what's going to happen in the United States. But what's interesting about this serum, it could be fast-tracked on what's called the animal rule pathway, like bubonic plague or anthrax medications were. So that's what's interesting.
It could. I mean, the flip side of this, and you know, this is one of the things that we've been hearing whispered, is that they're worried about getting the antidote falling into the wrong hands because somebody might weaponize Ebola. You know, this is something that has been talked about for a long time, and so if the serum is out there to cure it, then they can change the Ebola strain and weaponize it. You're laughing?
What should I be panicked about first? Ebola spreading to the U.S. or someone weaponizing Ebola?
I think we can panic about all of it.
I think the biggest threat to the spread of Ebola is ignorance about how to handle these cases. You know, basic hygiene things here. It's not as big of a risk, I don't think, in the U.S. We have you know, better communications here to tell people how to avoid this sort of thing. Better treatment in hospitals. They don't have that stuff in West Africa.
What do you think, James?
You know, I'm not sure I should say desperate times require desperate measures, but the fact is the Ebola and the concern about bringing it here to the country, it is going to fast track anything this company can do, and that's why the stock is rallying as much as it is.
Interesting.
CBS CEO Les Moonves ending speculation that his network may acquire CNN, saying, quote, "We thought about it, we talked about it. It is obviously something that is not going to happen." I thought the really interesting part, too, was that he said they're more interested in creating content for Netflix and elsewhere. In other words, they don't want to buy content. They want to create it and sell it off to Netflix and other outlets.
Right, that's right, Melissa, becoming a library of content. The word was that CNN was going to be valued at $10 billion. Les Moonves called that, quote, silly, those high in the sky valuations. But, you know, I'll tell you something. When you look at the market cap, CBS's market cap is sitting only around $6 billion higher than Netflix. So, you know, Apple could buy both CBS and Netflix with this.
Does CNN look like a spurned lover, you know, or the girl left behind that wasn't asked to prom, just sort of sitting there?
I mean, I think that CBS would have had an interest if the price was cheap and someone was forced to make a sale under those those kind of conditions. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I think CBS is doing just fine.
I bet
without it.
somebody still gobbles the whole thing up. What do you think, James?
I don't know. CBS is buying back its stock, increasing its dividend, and ever since the Supreme Court killed this arrow, content providers are the winners. And with affiliate fees, retransmission fees, I think CBS is doing well with its own portfolio of assets.
Okay. Shares of Lululemon up following founder Chip Wilson's decision to sell half of his stake in the company for $845 million. People want this guy out. They're scared of him.
Yeah, the stock is down. I think it lost, apparently wiped off $3 billion of its market cap year to date. The constant fights with
But
the
up
board.
today on the
that's
word
right.
that he might get out.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So who can take over Lululemon? I mean, it has a really devoted fan base, customer base, and it has a strong brand. There's still positives for this.
You wear
stock, I think.
Lululemon when you work out? You wear those shorts? They make your butt look better?
I'm wearing them right now.
Are you
They give
okay?
me that confidence
Yeah,
and lift that I
that's
need
right.
on television. I'd be really worried about this. Beyond the politics, I'm just worried about the competitive advantages here. You know who's gone into this business is Gap, and I think that Gap is a tough competitor. There are a lot of people out there making tights. As much as I love my Lululemon.
No, Lululemon is, I gotta say, it's a pretty unique product. Do you use it for lift as well?
I
Lift and separation? Should I go further, or is this totally out of place? Someone stop me.
So I'm gonna stop you. I don't use it. But Advent's been there before. This is their second bite at the Lululemon apple. They made money the first time around. I think they're a good partner to bring some much-needed stability to a company that, again, competition, quality, but also
I applaud you for getting through that answer with a straight face.
You didn't ask me, but I'll say.
Do you? I love Lululemon.
I think that's great. They have great products.
Great stuff. Okay. Delta attempting to keep passengers happy by virtually eliminating flight cancellations. Delta nixed just 19 out of almost 70,000 flights in June, believing that passengers would rather endure the delay. They said that if that's what customers hate the most, let's just not cancel any more flights. That's what the vice president said. But then their on-time rate goes way down because, that was the option. When you have a flight that's super delayed, you could cancel it or you could roll out a plane. It's going to take a couple hours. What do you think is the smarter choice?
Delta's really doing well right now in a lot of different areas. This move starts by pruning your routes so you get only those routes that are likely to have full planes that are likely to make you money. By having a good assortment of routes to begin with, you're able to do this. And I think so. This has been a process that's been going on for a few years now.
Is cancellation really the worst thing that they can possibly do? Does that anger everyone more than anything else? What do you think, James?
There's not enough time on the show to talk about the frustrations with travel right now. But I would say cancellation with notice, no harm, no foul. But when they jam you up and you're en route to the airport, you're at the airport. The fact is, cancellations have been a way of the airlines making more money by not letting flights go that were less than full. So actually,
That's right. I think there's been a rash of crazy cancellations. I'm happy to see them doing this. I've been there the night before and they've canceled a flight because they said a storm was coming the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
The storm didn't come. Right. My flight was canceled anyway, and I was beyond
By the
furious.
way, you're supposed to get more money than what they tell you, right? According to federal government rules, you're supposed to get like a good $1,000 depending on the trip.
Yeah.
But this is finally fly the friendly skies, and Delta's stock has been in an upright position because it is more customer friendly, not canceling flights.
So here's one of the most important stories of the day. This is the perfect tech solution for romantics or stalkers. I'm not really sure which. The new app Happen, attempting to help keep a log of every person you pass on the street. So you pass someone, you thought they were really hot, you made eye contact, you didn't stop and accost them or embarrass yourself or whatever you would have normally been doing. And instead, you're able to look later, given that they're on the app as well, and find them and be like, wow, I passed you on the street. To me, this just proves what I always knew, which was that the internet was invented for sex. That's it.
This is great.
That's what it's all about, right?
This is big news for flashers, perverts, all sorts of people. I'm not sure what use it has beyond.
It also is, so they say it's for people you pass on the street, but then if you read lower, it says users can try and send a charm to someone to get their attention. So maybe you didn't pass them. It's free to women.
It's free to women.
But men have to pay. Big shocker there.
I love that part.
You should talk to the pretty girl while you have your chance. Otherwise, it's natural selection.
Really?
You lose out because you were cowardly and weak at the time. You shouldn't have an app that helps you.
Is that you? Do you just accost women walking? I know you have a new baby, so you got to think back to the day.
So I've cut
what
by
was
50%
it like?
the number of women I am.
Really? Are you in your Lululemon shorts when you're doing that, when you're accosting people on the street, or are you wearing regular clothes?
Well, it depends on my mood at the time.
That's right. Okay. James, you're not going anywhere near this one, I noticed.
He's not saying a word.
No.
I'll just say the websites, the dating websites are coming off now, and the applications, the geolocation applications are soaring. It's a little
terrifying.
scary to me.
It's terrifying. All right, thanks, guys. From the U.S. to every corner of the globe, money has been flying around the world today, starting in Malaysia, where the government is giving its national airline a complete overhaul by delisting its shares and taking it private. Malaysia Airlines is being bought out by a state investment fund, which is looking to cut back on less profitable routes, as well as install a new management team, I bet. Over to France, where lawmakers want to force supermarkets to hand over all of its unsold food to the poor. The proposal will make it compulsory for big chain grocers to collect all of their out-of-date yet edible meats and pastas and vegetables and hand them over to charities that will have them redistributed. Experts believe a third of all food good for consumption is lost or wasted. And landing in Bangladesh, where factory workers are protesting over lost wages, mobs of angry garment workers have clashed with police, forcing hundreds of factories to close down operations. Parliamentary guards have been deployed to calm things down. Looks rough. All right, the calendar may read August, but the thermostat sure doesn't. And just wait until next month. Dire predictions from AccuWeather calling for another polar vortex that could grip the nation as early as September. They are calling for snow across the Great Lakes and part of the Northeast, rain and early cold for much of the rest of the country, except for the drought-stricken West that could really use the rain. Jack and Jim are back with me. It's hardly felt like summer around here. I mean, I love it. It's beautiful. It's cool out. I guess if you called it global warming before, you really had, egg on your face. It's good that it's climate change, because it is a change-in.
Yeah, I kind of worry about the. I have a hard time telling if there's increased volatility in the weather or if we're just paying closer attention.
We're just obsessed with it, I think. We're obsessed. It's beautiful outside right now. I've got to say, it's August, and I had a sweater on this morning, so I'm not exactly complaining about this whole thing.
It's been a truly beautiful summer for the Tri-State area, but we have had extreme weather. People are getting nervous about what's coming, and it does affect businesses, whether it's disaster recovery, business continuity, having to work remotely.
But if it's colder in the fall than it should be, everybody's going to go out and buy stuff sooner. So they blamed the winter for bad sales and for bad numbers. Now, if it's colder sooner in the fall, they can't complain. That'll send people out to buy jackets, right?
I suppose, how the weather affects retailers is one thing, but I really worry about how it affects crop cycles if we're going to have problems with the harvest and the planting next year, that sort of thing.
You worry about that in your Lululemon shorts. Thanks, guys. I am glad I'm not eating all these fries here alone, but it turns out Americans here are alone for about half of our meals. This is according to a study by NPD. Jack and James are joining us now. You guys like the shakes? Are you having some of the shakes? Did you have any fries over there? I like those fries better, so don't eat all of those. Don't eat all those. They're the skinny fries.
Is this a low-calorie thing,
That is low calorie. It's fat-free. It has 10 calories in the whole thing. This was a really depressing study. Here it is. 60%. We eat 60% of our breakfasts alone, over half of our lunches, and 70% of our non-meals. Well, I guess you eat the non-meals alone. I mean, what is your non-meals? You're eating a granola bar. You're supposed to go find someone and eat it with them? I don't know.
Yeah, we eat our meals alone, and that gives us more time for crying because we don't have anyone to be with. I think people are busy. People are on the go. I mean, I don't think it's such a surprise.
I eat breakfast and lunch in my office, so I guess that counts as being alone.
You don't cry, though, right?
And
I don't cry. I wave to the people outside my office, though. I feel like that means I'm with other people, no?
No, I think eating has become almost akin to fuel as opposed to a dining experience. You're right. We're on the go. We're squeezing meals in any way we can. And I think, in part, social media, we don't feel alone.
Cheers. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
So, hot felon Jeremy Meeks, you remember him, Melissa? Well, now there's an action doll. It's $100, but he's not happy about it, and they're suing.
I can't believe this. He's suing about the action doll? I mean, he's a felon. Why does he not want an action doll?
I don't know. This attention is unfair to a guy like me who has the haunting good looks but does not have the criminal record.
I know, it's so true. All right. Alex, what do you got next?
Okay, second one, jellyfish takeover. More and more been popping up around the world, and now there's one, a giant jellyfish near Italy. It's first time in 70 years.
James, are you scared?
This is why I do feel small when I stand beside the ocean. I won't sing a Leanne Womack song, but I do feel small, and I only want to see that behind a thick piece of glass at an aquarium.
That's a great idea. All right, what do you got? Last one, Alex.
Okay, last one. Bloody Mary meets fried chicken. It's called the chicken fried bloody beast. It's $50. Sausages, Brussels, and lots of alcohol.
That is disgusting. I mean, talk about something to be afraid of.
It's a great idea because if you're drinking alone, the chicken gives you someone to talk to. You can give it a name.
All right, you win. That was the best one. We're going to end there. Thanks, guys. That's all.